Good day, everyone, and welcome to today's Softrax Executive Webcast. Today's call is being recorded. As a reminder, all participants will be in a listen-only mode today. I will now turn the call over to your host, President and CEO of Softrax Corporation, Mr. Bob O'Connor.
Thank you, Jennifer. Welcome, everyone. Softrax is the leading provider of billing and revenue management solutions to hundreds of companies, and many of whom join us on the webcast today. We do have hundreds of registrants for this webcast, which indicates how much executives want to hear about today's topic from our speaker, Mike Allpass, who's the VP of Finance and Controller of Air2Web. Mike's presentation is entitled Best Practices for Complex Billing and Revenue Recognition. And the webcast is a result of previous audiences' requests for case studies from companies who are willing to share their best practices in their use of our software. Mike will be available for questions at the conclusion of his prepared remarks. And I'll introduce Mike in a little bit, but please note the picture before we go too far. Mike is an avid triathlete and three-time Ironman, and you'll note that his picture differs significantly from mine, and for the sake of all of the audience, I decided not to share a similar picture of myself. Now, with respect to the agenda, I'll spend a few minutes first on Softrax and how we play into this topic of best practices for billing and revenue management, and then we'll give the presentation over to Mike, who will spend the majority of the hour that we have together talking about the topics that you see there. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with our webcast format, we leave about 10 to 15 minutes for you to ask questions at the end of the webcast, and I'll give you instructions for that, and we should be done with all of this before the top of the hour. With respect to questions, to do so, please note that there's an Ask a Question feature located in the lower left-hand corner of the console. All you need to do is click on that and type your question in, and I will be reading the questions during Mike's presentation, and I'll be able to ask him those again when he's finished with his prepared remarks. The most commonly asked question is, can I get a copy of the slides? And the answer is yes, but we do make you work a little for that. As you can see here on the slide, we ask you to spend about a minute to give us your feedback. So on the conclusion of the webcast, your browser will be directed to a short online survey. We listen to these. Again, this specific webcast is a result of people asking for these types of things. If you're a customer like Mike is and want to participate, please note that as well, and we'll see if that would work out for you and for us. And also, after you complete the survey, the slides will be available for you. There'll be an email link with this information and also a link for the on-demand recording. So if you wanted to share it with a colleague later on. So let me just spend a few minutes, as I said, introducing the topic from Softrax's perspective. We developed enterprise software that manage all aspects of a company's billing and revenue cycle. Throughout the U.S. and world, hundreds of companies from many different industries use our software to manage their complex billing, their revenue recognition, revenue reporting, revenue forecasting. And as you may know, Softrax started by serving the complex needs of the software industry, and just software companies specifically, and we remain the clear leader in that market. And as you can see from this slide, we have grown to address the complex billing and revenue needs of many different industries. Given our customer base and the industries that we serve, we are actively involved in performing surveys to help us and our customers understand the important issues that we all face. And in a recent survey with the data depicted here, the frequency of billing problems was related to the issues and the complexities of their business models. And what was clear from this is that complex business models that lead to complex pricing also lead to higher rebills, late billing, and incorrect billing. And what's interesting to note, that those companies that utilize more complicated pricing tiers and pricing models have about a two times the rate of rebilling and late bills and incorrect bills. So that certainly stands to reason, given the complexity of things, that it creates operational problems for those people who are billing their customers. The other half of the equation, in addition to billing, is revenue recognition and the accuracy of doing so and doing so in a timely manner. In another recent study and survey done by RevenueRecognition.com and IDC, 57%, more than half of public companies cannot finalize their revenue numbers within their monthly close process. So 57% of public companies admitted that they cannot finalize their revenue in time when they close their month. And the delay of up to 3 weeks, and as you can see on the right, if you can see the screen close enough, what the real delays are a result of the complexity of these transactions, the fact that the required information to accurately recognize revenue is not available, and then there are other reasons that are less frequently chosen as a result of this survey. And these surveys and many more are on our websites, either Softrax.com or RevenueRecognition.com, and we continue to do these on a regular basis for your benefit, and thank you for those who participate in them. Now let's look at some of the operational and accounting challenges that CFOs and their staffs need to focus on. They need to focus on operational challenges related to their business models. Certainly many business models, again, as you hear today, a lot of recurring business, contract subscriptions, transaction-based businesses, and managing the volume and complexity of those transactions, complying with revenue recognition guidelines, ever-increasing regulations around revenue recognition and financial reporting, and certainly people still need to work on the additional pressure that they feel given the improved and the requirement for improved financial reporting and visibility of their financial numbers. However, more likely we see customers who are trying to address these challenges with a host of disconnected and manual systems that create daily roadblocks to operating efficiency. And if the slide reminds you of your operations at the current time, that's not that unusual, but it's certainly an area that creates great risk. And some of the business implications of this approach are certainly pretty clear, but they include many that affect cash and profitability, operating efficiency, and overall company performance when people try to solve many of these complex problems with regard to billing and revenue recognition manually. Our applications are closely aligned with the previously mentioned challenges a few slides ago that people in the industries that we serve are facing. Our applications manage billing and operations in terms of contract management with customers and the complexities of recurring billing and contract renewals, deep revenue recognition capability. You'll see familiar terms up there such as VSOE and many SOPs, as well as expense accounting in terms of matching that to revenue recognition, and analytical applications that need to improve visibility to help executives make better strategic decisions. And all this unique functionality can be licensed individually or together, as we provide really two major product offerings, complete billing and revenue management applications for many different industries listed here. And again, Mike will discuss his experience with these products. And also for larger enterprises who have implemented ERP applications such as SAP or Oracle, our Revenue Manager application provides for revenue recognition, allocation, scheduling, and forecasting for business that has already been booked in an ERP system, and for business that might not be booked yet but needs to be forecasted to see the effect of revenue on certain bookings models. This application is highly configurable for many different industries. So today's topic, we are focused on billing and revenue management for subscription-based and usage-based business models that are very prevalent in many industries, some of them listed on this slide. And these industries really do require that companies get it right with respect to managing the flexibility of tiered pricing, getting it right with respect to being able to bill complex business models that are frequently a combination of subscription or utilization or usage or transaction-based billing, managing the complexities of the contracts that they have with their customers, and certainly managing and accurately reporting on revenue recognition issues. We frequently encounter companies who look a little like this slide. This could be the kind of the before and after slides. They frequently, on the left-hand side, have a production system. That's their livelihood. That's their differentiator, and usually is very well implemented and really is the heart and soul of their business. and certainly they frequently have, on the right side of the slide, financial systems and general ledgers in place. The area that we're focusing on here is the in-between, where there's a big gap with frequently cobbled together manual or custom systems where contracts might be managed in Word and pricing is managed and updated in Excel. Invoices might be manually produced and journal entries might be manually keyed in. Obviously, this approach is inefficient, it doesn't scale, and it can be fraught with error. Our goal is to clean up this situation with an integrated solution that's taking information in an automated fashion from the production system, that's managing the customer contracts, that's managing complex pricing models, and matching services and products and tiered pricing against the delivery of those services, creating a charging process and a billing process, automating it in terms of the allocation of revenue and maybe expense accounting as well, and automating the interface to the general ledger. This stack of applications allows for information for strategic analysis and decision-making on top, so that all of this is in one integrated system. And as a result, companies should realize the following effects on company performance, but rather than hearing it directly from me, it's probably better to transition to Mike at this point and have him tell his story and the Air2Web story as it relates to those benefits. So as Mike gets ready, let me just introduce him briefly. Again, Mike Allpass is the VP of Finance and Controller at Air2Web. They are an Atlanta-based international pure-play mobile marketing company, and Mike's slides do spend some time on who Air2Web is. He has 11 years of experience, Big Four public accounting experience with Deloitte & Touche and Ernst & Young in South Africa and Canada and the United States. You might detect an accent that would be consistent with his travels. In addition to his Big Four accounting experience, Mike has served in senior accounting and financial management experience in technologies and healthcare companies, including Sterling Software and WebMD. And as I mentioned, an avid triathlete and an Ironman, so this should be pretty easy for you, Mike. So if you push your slides over, and the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Bob. It certainly is my pleasure to be here today, and I think this would be unsolicited, but I certainly would like to acknowledge the Softrax team that have allowed us to get operational on your product on a very rapid deployment. We had started out with our purchase decision and made our purchase decision in the first part of the second quarter of 2007, and as we stand here today, we have 2 live monthly cycles under our belt. So a huge kudos to the team at Softrax and to our internal team here. I've worked in this business for a long time, and there are many reasons why these can go off track, and there were none of those that were just outstandingly handled. I'd like to start out on Air2Web today. We were founded just over 7 years ago, and Bob mentioned we're a pure-play mobile marketing company. And you might ask, what is a mobile marketing company? It has nothing to do with mobile homes. We all carry most of us carry a two-way communications device on our waist or our pockets. And when you think about how that technology has changed in terms of cell phone technology, Air2Web was really right ahead of its time when it started out in this marketplace in 1999. And as you can well imagine, the type of communications that existed in those days from a marketing perspective would be rather limited and most probably very limited to text-type communications. When you look at the sophistication of the devices that many of us carry around today, it just changes it changes the playing field, and that in itself provides a lot of opportunity. And we believe Air2Web is very well placed to play in that market. We are a worldwide company. When I say worldwide, we have operations in Europe, in India, and here in the U.S. With network operating centers that scan and operate and connect between all of those continents. The solutions that we provide range, and perhaps what I will do is move on to our next slide. The customers that we serve are very impressive, and we've listed just a few of them here. The Weather Channel, and might just give you a feel for the nature of our business that in marketing to cell phones, this is permission-based marketing, so it's not like the spam that you experience or can experience on the internet today. It's one where you provide your permission, you enroll, or you request to participate in a message service or a transaction type service that our company can provide. An example of that would be with the Weather Channel. If you would like to download to your handheld and have weather updates on your handheld. Another example might be if you're looking to track your shipment on UPS. And also fairly recently with traffic.com, all of those applications can be downloaded so that what you interact with on the internet can be a very similar facing application for you on your handheld device. Some of the logos that are not on this slide but are also interesting are companies like American Express, if you're looking to check on the balance on your account, McDonald's, Starbucks, if you would like to locate where the closest Starbucks is to where you presently are at the time. Starbucks has an application that would handle that. E-Trade and Foster's Wine, if you're sitting at the table and you are enjoying a meal and you'd like to use your phone to connect into a website and get the guidance from Foster's Wine as to which wine would most suit your meal. Those are the types of a few of the types of applications that we provide to our customers. And essentially, we look to our customers. We categorize it in three categories. Our customers are typically those that are looking to promote, service, or transact communications over the cell phone communication technology. With that in mind, we have a company that is we're privately held, and we are presently in the process of scaling and upgrading our systems to accommodate the growth that we are experiencing and that we anticipate. And Softrax was one of the first steps in that regard. As we look to the business model challenges that we face at Air2Web, we have historically had multiple streams of revenue, and those streams of revenue include multiple element arrangements. We have moved from, and over time, from what we would traditionally look at as being a software license model to a software as a service model. So within the portfolio of revenue that we have to account for and customer arrangements, we include those amongst the many others that we have as well. Typically, we do not have traditionally what some software companies might have in terms of VSOE. We, being in a fairly immature market and being in a market space where there is a reasonable amount of having to accommodate marketing needs that are reasonably different for different customers, we're not in that space. We do face the challenge that many of our contracts are contract-specific pricing, and that can lead to many, many challenges. I'm sure that those listening on the call can appreciate that. We have a range of customers from, as I mentioned earlier, in terms of the type of applications, and also would include that we host for some of the major carriers some of the applications that they have when you use for example, a star pay or a star MIN, star minutes, to check how many minutes you might have available on your cell phone. So it's not unlikely for us to be processing in the 20 to 30 million messages a month for those type of customers, just one large customer. So our messaging business can be complex. In addition to the messaging, we also provide the ability to handle premium messaging, and that is if the customer is looking to, or the end user is looking to download a ringtone or a wallpaper, and also if, for example, somebody is looking to use their telephone to vote on a TV show such as Survivor. We do have small expenses. When I say small expenses, we have, with many of our applications, there is a function called a short code, which is a code that you would key into your cell phone, and that would activate the necessary activity and response that you're looking to create. And we typically purchase those short codes on behalf of our customers, and we lease those short codes, and they normally have a 3-month to 6-month life, which needs to get renewed as well. So we track those expenses and recognize revenue from those as well within the Softrax environment. Our challenges, as in our previous system, was really the very limited visibility of other departments to what accounting was handling, and so that is one of the reasons why we also look to this as a solution. And we have announced recently that we are in the midst of discussions and intent with the acquisition and merger of a German-based company, and that company is one that faces very similar challenges to us, and that we would look to have this solution solve our needs there as well. When we came to look for a solution, the requirements that we looked for was that we wanted to automate the billing process based on these complex and various tiered pricing models. As I mentioned before, those are customer specific. They needed to handle very high transaction volumes. We needed to be able to report on those volumes on the face of our bills that we presented to our customer. And our process that we had in-house, and I'll spend a little bit of time on that, was very manual and very error-prone. And within that, we were looking to eliminate or reduce down the manual process to the most that we could, and then also to automate both our revenue recognition and our billing processes. Really looking for improving the accuracy and then the resultant auditability of the revenue numbers. This year will be a year where we have a combination of manual and automated process, so it might be more of a challenge. But as we move forward, we look for a benefit and really a degree of comfort from that as well. And as Bob mentioned a little earlier, that the error-prone invoices can lead to cash flow slowdown, and we were looking to that as part of our solution as well. When it comes to pricing complexity, because of the nature of the campaigns and the different needs of our customers, our pricing is fairly unique. We are not a company that has a price menu and a customer can look at that and order from the menu. We do have what we call our base products, and those are run according to price guidelines, and then we have our pro products where those are, as we said, very, very customer driven, very market driven, and also very campaign specific. We have volume pricing that typically runs in tiers where for messages that we communicate, both going outward bound and then also coming back in. We have different prices for message outs and message terminates, and we have different tiered volumes for each one of those category of messages. Most of our invoices are based on the number of transactions that we have. We also do have, in certain cases, monthly minimums, and in certain cases, we have monthly amounts that are included within the base hosting charge. So that in itself relates back to some of the customer-specific pricing arrangements and complexity. We have an Oracle-based system in-house that tracks all of our traffic, inbound and outbound, and those are the statistics and the volumes and transactions that we use for our billing purposes. At this point in time, we do not yet have an interface from the billing system, from our internal Oracle system into the billing system. That is a process that we are looking to implement as we move forward. Our pricing for invoices was exceptionally time-consuming and error-prone. If you can imagine, as I've mentioned, these many different contracts, different customer types, a different contract for each of those, and really the need to go back to the contract on a manual basis almost every month to review what the status was on that particular contract, how to bill it, how to recognize revenue. And the last one was that we do have promotions and campaigns, and though the system needed to handle those promotions and campaigns, and also needed to handle our ability to deliver on our premium messaging, which is our ringtones and wallpapers. Our process has changed with Softrax in that we are able to set up within our PMTs, our price tables, the pricing for each customer, and that is the pricing that gets used in the calculation of the prices that get invoiced out to our customers, and it is also the basis of the attached supporting documentation that gets provided. Previously, we had to key that information in to every invoice that we had when we were billing this through a separate billing system. So every month, for every customer, we would have to track those invoices, those volumes, and then put those in manually into an invoice. So we, at this point in time, after review, we add our data to the system only once. We run it through our test system, and it goes into production. The application of minimums and our promotions is very easily handled in terms of the price tables and accommodated in an automated fashion. And if and when we need to make any modifications, those are very simply done through that price management table process. Our invoicing process was also very cumbersome and very error-prone, and our supporting data was entirely managed in spreadsheets and then manually transferred over to our invoicing system. And we take our information from our paper contracts, and those, as I mentioned, would be ones that we look to on a monthly basis, whereas in our new process, a one-time entry takes care of that. So we are now not needing to do that. Our contract expense management also used to be manual, and that was very, very cumbersome, and also, as you can appreciate, once cumbersome, also open to error and open to lost opportunity. Cash flows are delayed when your invoices are not accurate and when the customer does not understand them. And we really have made great strides in that area. Our process required 2 to 3 weeks in order to get our invoices out under our old system. As we move forward to the Softrax solution that we've implemented, Our invoices are generated automatically per the terms of the contract at the end of each month. We have our bill presentation that is tailored to the customer, that pulls the detail, the pricing, pulls down any details with regard to quarterly dates, any short code specific identifications. So the customer receives those invoices based upon what is in the contract and also how those price tables flow together. We have certainly seen, and initially, honestly, we had one or two customers when they received our new invoice formats that looked at them and it caused some concern. We had really gone out of our way previously to, and I think we could have kept 2 or 3 people busy in an accounting department to customizing our bills in a way that customers would find them acceptable. For an example of that is we would produce our bills for one customer and do all of the maintenance revenue on one bill for multiple contracts. Well, the way this system works now is that there is a bill presented by contract, and we did have to work with our customers to get accustomed to that and to have them work through that. But those are some of the tough decisions that one has to make when you automate this process, and it's not one that's highly time consuming. Our rework is minimal on the new Softrax system. We do any of the checking beforehand. We make sure that our tables are correct. And so the consistency, the look, the nature of the information, the application to the volumes and pricing is all intact and in integrity. So we've had a very much improved process, and our bills go out within 1 to 2 working days, which really is a very impressive statistic. From a revenue recognition standpoint, I had mentioned that we kept that in a spreadsheet, and that was similar to the billing process where we had to go back and review contracts at the end of every month on an individual basis to make sure that revenue was being recognized appropriately. Also, very, very prone to error and very time consuming. And our deferred revenue was transferred manually to our ledger, and very challenging to keep our deferred revenue and our unbilled revenue accounts appropriately reconciled and understanding the differences that could and would occur in those accounts. Since implementing contracts, we now have separate schedules for billing and for revenue, and this is just, it's a whole new world for us. So we have now we have a transparent flow of our revenue from the source contract once it's entered into the general ledger. We have full control of the revenue account distribution that we have within the setup of the contracts. And our unbilled and invoiced revenue has become a very much, not only much more mechanized process, but much more understandable in terms of the reports that we can get out to analyze them, and also the ability to reconcile them and keep them up to date. Complex adjustments are made easily, and we also have a full track of the audit process where in an Excel spreadsheet with multiple people working in it, one can only imagine the challenges that exist there. One of our goals when we have started our systems enhancement processes is really that our accounting group would be the group that would manage and distribute data, and that we weren't we were really holding this on and processing it on behalf of the business owners. So it was really important for us to know that we had the ability to push out data to the business owners. We were tremendously interrupted in our work day in terms of the requests and the just coming by to find out what customers' agings were, what details were on contracts, what details were on invoices. And that situation has changed, and we're not at the end of the road there. We still have a way to go because we are presently rolling out the Inform product and also the Softrax Business Intelligence module. And we believe that those will assist in the process that we have in terms of enhanced visibility to our data and cutting down on interruptions within our team, and just making the communication process and the understanding process a lot more clear and a lot more efficient. In summary, then, the impact that we've had with Softrax is that we have a newfound confidence in the numbers and the processes, and I'm sure the people on this call can clearly understand what that confidence does for one, as opposed to the challenges that you face when numbers don't always have the integrity in them that can result from spreadsheet-based accounting. We have improved, I would say, both our customer satisfaction and our cash flows, and that has been very substantial for us. We do have internally additional best practices that we need to build on in terms of the contract process coming through to Softrax, but our Softrax process has certainly helped us in this customer satisfaction process. We are very well placed in terms of being able to meet our scalable needs, and we are also very well placed in terms of having this implementation under our belt, having defined the processes and having the system operational so that we can now expand and really integrate this acquisition in a very effective way. Our personnel are freed up from the tasks and the frustrations that are related to dealing with spreadsheet-based revenue accounting, and really it has given them a lot more time to spend on more meaningful activities and more timely reporting. I wouldn't say that everybody goes home at 5 o'clock yet. However, certainly the quality and the nature of the functions has changed, and people are very pleased that we have this in place. We have yet to have our auditors in, but I'm confident that they were actually part of the driving force as well in terms of recommendations for solutions, and so I'm sure they'll be pleased in what they see as they come in for the audit process. And I believe it really has improved both our credibility and our higher level interactions and our ability to communicate as to where our business really is with other organizations in the department. Bob, that ends my prepared comments. I will hand back to you for Q&A at this time.
Thank you, Mike. That's great. We'll give you about a minute to rest your voice. I'll just remind everybody that on the call we've gotten many good questions, but certainly room for more if you like. And the way you do that is to look on your console. There's an Ask a Question feature. Please type in your question. I'll be reading those and have been reading those as Mike has done his presentation, and we'll get to those now. In some cases, Mike, they're topics that you've touched on, but the questions are a little bit deeper, and in some cases they're new topics. There was a lot of interest in this unique pricing, and certainly when we talk to prospective new customers, they really talk about how their pricing is unique, how it there's nothing that's standard, and and it changes all the time from marketing or sales to, and that finance and operations are kind of burdened with the pricing du jour, if you will. And certainly yours is, a lot of people were reflecting on how complex it is, and I think they relate to that. So, just talk a little bit about how the interactions of pricing itself happens in terms of people coming up with different pricing schemes and what the effect now, given the implementation of the software and on the finance department. Can you reflect a little on that?
I can, Bob. It depends on the nature of our business, and we build websites in certain cases for our customers to promote their products and to host and to connect into. And so within the building of those websites, there can be different needs, and those are typically based on professional service type rates, but then also accommodated to get a price solution that fits the customer as well. So, the professional services typically do implementations, do consulting, also do this website development, and then on the messaging, that can also vary based upon the nature of the service that the customer has. So, for example, we might have one customer where we have a revenue share arrangement, and we might have another customer that might be purely transaction-based. We might have one customer that we are where their projections in terms of volumes would ask us from a business standpoint. One customer might be different. They might be ramping over a period of time. Another customer might be one where it's a TV show, and that's going to not ramp, but it'll be at full volume the first time you get that screen up on the TV. So it's within those many needs that, and within the nature of us being, we're not a software or widget type sale. We don't have a widget that's worth $1.50 or $1,500. We are very message oriented. We are very hosting oriented, and in some cases we can also be revenue share oriented.
Okay. There was a lot about shrinking billing from 2 to 3 weeks to 1 to 2 days. I think everybody gets the cash flow and DSO benefits of that, the ROI and so forth. So there were some questions about, really? And maybe there are some related questions as well about staffing, and you don't have to disclose size of staff, things like that. But you talked about how they're on to more meaningful things. But maybe you could talk about how that transition went, and something about staffing, especially now that you've acquired another company and you're using this as a platform to roll that other company under. So the issue of what the effect on staffing and productivity is because of that severely enhanced cycle time in terms of getting bills out the door.
Bob, I had the same reaction because I went back to my staff and I said to them, I have to make this statement, and is it really that? And it certainly was confirmed. It's really got down to a 2-day cycle. We now wait longer for our numbers to be produced out of our Oracle system, just from a processing standpoint. There's certain communications that happen between carriers that have to settle and have to be recorded. So typically within our revenue close, we closed our revenue on the 5th working day, but that's because we have 3 days that we currently have to wait. We're looking to tighten that up, but certainly because we can do our work during the month as we get our bookings and as we get our contracts, those can be put into the system, the tables can be done, and that's where, when I say we work in a different way, that's the preparation is there, and when it comes to doing the billing and doing the revenue recognition, it really does translate down to that 2-day range. With respect to staff, we certainly don't have and don't foresee that this will reduce the staff that we have. Revenue recognition and the nature of the fact that people are on this call, I'm sure, is just a testimony to the complexity in most businesses of revenue recognition in a technical software type company, but it has really changed the nature of the tasks that we focus on, and has really released our staff from being fighting fires, responding to errors, dealing with what appears to be a lack of integrity in the numbers. Not that needs to be significant. It's even if it is wrong, it's not correct. So the nature and the handling by our staff has certainly been a great improvement as well.
Okay. Great, thank you. There are just some clarifications, Mike. You have your production system, and you've referred to that as your Oracle system occasionally. So I think some people want to make sure they understand what systems you're using. So you have your production system that you've referred to as your Oracle system. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay.
It's not Oracle Financials as such. It's an Oracle database that we use to track and monitor, and then also be our customer information center.
Right. And so that's really on the front end, if you will, and then into our Softrax billing and revenue management applications. Now you're saying that bridge is not automated yet, but something you will be doing soon?
That is correct.
Okay. And there are some questions from people about how that would be. We offer integration toolkits for people because we know full well that we are not going to provide, we are not the production system, we are not the metering system, and we have provided what we call a product called SDX Connect, which allows applications such as yours for that data to flow into our application and to make sure that the data integrity is well managed. And so you have not done that yet, but you intend on doing that. And there's some questions from people out there about how that would be. So again, we front-ended that application, our applications with this type of technology, knowing full well that this data needs to flow in and needs to be have the right integrity to make sure that all is accounted for. And then on the back end, you have the financials. So hopefully that'll answer some of the questions in terms of where our application sits vis-a-vis your production system and the financial system, and how some of that's to be integrated. So, and you expect that to be done? Do you have a timeline to have that integration done, Mike?
Bob, we initially purchased the SDX Connect product with that intention. In order to stay on a fast track, that was something that we put into phase 2 so that we could get into production and up and running, and also allow us to manage and monitor what was coming in so that we had a clear understanding of that. So it's really in our phase 2, and that should be within the next 60 days.
Okay, great. Hopefully that answers some of the questions. You talked about customized bills, or you said they're tailored to customers. How different are these? Obviously, the pricing is different, and what the transactions represent. But what would be an example of a different type of bill that someone would like to see the data certain ways than others?
But perhaps customized is a strong word for the circumstances. Our bills do have features on them today that they didn't have in the past. They do have a balanced carry forward. They do also have the ability for us to have our short codes, which are customer specific, entered on the line items so the customer understands and can audit those. So those are all customer specific. And then we also have customer-specific dates for things like campaigns and also renewals or quarterly billings or charges. So customized, I think, from the way that I was presenting it, is more, it represents what the customer would expect to be driven out of the contract, as opposed to indicating that this is a highly customized solution for different customers.
Okay. Mike, a lot of questions on implementation issues, and let's spend a little bit time on that. First, on the front end, did you ever consider, obviously your production system is homegrown, as we see most of the time, but did you ever consider, when you went through your requirements, that you should build the billing and revenue management system? Is that part of what you're looking for, or were you just looking for off-the-shelf application?
Bob, it was our intent to get an off-the-shelf application. We never seriously considered building our own solution.
Good. Well, I can tell you how much it would take and how long how much it costs and how long it takes. So you made the right decision for that, I guarantee you. Let's talk about just time frames. We had questions about, do you think there's a better time of the year to do this? I think you mentioned in Q2 that you want to do this. Did you think you wanted to get up? Would you recommend a mid-year conversion, end of year, end of quarter? Does it really matter from your perspective?
Gosh, that's a tough question, and it's so dependent on individual and company circumstances. I think in our particular circumstances, we had a change in. I was brought on board to spearhead this process. I think it fell naturally into being into we had to drive it to really keep it from the back end of the year. With Sarbanes-Oxley and other considerations, I think it's very much a custom decision, a very personalized decision as to what would suit companies in different circumstances. I would, however, say that I'm very, very pleased that we go into our year-end audit with this behind us and with an accomplishment that we can complete our audit with this tool in place.
I agree, Mike. It is an individual decision. Certainly, from our perspective, we see people buying and implementing in a steady state throughout the year. The one thing we do see that agree with. We don't see major companies going live towards the end of their fourth quarter for obvious reasons. But otherwise, people are very much monthly, quarterly focused, and with some of the returns and benefits you're talking about, many people once they by the applications, their thoughts are the sooner the better from that perspective. Can you share, I think some things were lost on people, maybe you glossed over, just roughly the timeline. You said you purchased in the second quarter and you're live now. Could you give a little bit more depth to that, a little more detail about perhaps some steps in there, such as training or anything else? Not a detailed implementation plan, Mike, but just an overview.
I can, Bob. I joined the company on March the 17th of 2007.
St. Patrick's Day, as some of us know it.
At that time, the decision was made to go with Softrax subject to confirmation. We very quickly confirmed that decision, and I believe we signed the agreement either late March or very early April. The team were very responsive at Softrax in terms of going through our business requirements and definitions, and within a number of weeks, we had our first on-site sessions, and so it really went through the whole of the second quarter. I had originally set a fairly aggressive target that we might be doing our June billings or our July billings off of the system, and we did August, which I think was very much in line with what my real expectations were. So the training that was provided with Softrax very much in a workshop mode, working with our challenges, understanding our specific needs, understanding how the system would be configured in order to accomplish that. The training was not training that, we send a few people off-site and they sat in a classroom for, a couple of days. It was very hands-on, very relevant, and very effective. So, go live, we did our August billing. That was done in the second or third week of September. So that was a little slow in experiencing that, and really just because of the conversion process. And now we've moved on to that tighter schedule.
Any other advice that you'd gather from this in terms of undertaking this type of endeavor or implementing this type of solution?
I think the most valuable insight that was provided to us is that there are so many forks in the road in this type of implementation where one can go down. The guidance that was provided to us and the knowledge set that our team had from Softrax, and they didn't always guide us. They very often gave us the options. In some cases, they gave us, strong cautions. But I think the recommendation would be just you're dealing with revenue recognition, revenue deferrals, revenue billing. You're dealing with a team of people that clearly understand how their product works and how it needs to be configured to meet your specific applications. And so I'm not sure how that translates into advice, except that it translates to me into being a compliment to your team as to how effectively they handled that for us and went above and beyond all that we would have expected from them.
Great. Thank you very much, Mike, for sharing your experience, your insight. I know I learned a lot, and I know that many of our audience did as well. And I thank you to the audience for their attendance, their participation, their excellent questions. I'm sorry we didn't get to all of them. We will try to get back to people individually. Many of the questions came streaming in over the past few minutes when we're up against the clock, as we promised people. Please remember, as your screen now has a browser link on it, please make sure that you spend a few minutes to give us your feedback. Again, we listen to that, and it drives our future programs. It also will allow you to get copies of the presentation slides and the link for the on-demand recording. Also, please stay tuned and continue to look at your email and our websites, Softrax.com and RevenueRecognition.com, for future events such as these and other educational forums that we have. You should also note that RevenueRecognition.com has started a user forum, and that allows people like yourselves to go online and discuss with other colleagues in the industry revenue recognition issues, and is recently launched and is getting a lot of attraction and a lot of traffic. So please note that as well, the user forums in RevenueRecognition.com. So thank you again, Mike, for your time, and thank you to everyone. Goodbye. Thank you again, Mike, for your time, and thank you to everyone. Goodbye.